The best way to engage people is to bring out other emotions, other feelings, because a lot of people are very angry and upset by it all, obviously. But there's other emotions, like the feelings of loss. All that energy needs somewhere to go, and that's what this does. It's somewhere to go and somewhere to think about the people who've gone and what kind of people they might have been if they lived a bit longer and so on. And also to enjoy the kind of people they were when they were alive, and to celebrate them as people. The people asked me to do the Hillsborough Justice campaign group. They gave me a bit of free rein, but every part of it was discussed with them, and of course some of their ideas were incorporated. I was very moved by meeting people who were involved in it, and I've been thinking about this for years anyway. About it's this terrible disaster and the way it's been handled. With it hasn't been handled very well at all, really, by all kinds of people. And I felt that if I was to make a monument, I didn't want to make something that would upset anyone. I wanted something that was something that had hope in it, something that would make us look back on this and not to see people as the eternal victims, as so they would be seen as the people they were, not just a statistic. And to do that, I felt to just show ordinary people like them and people like us. It starts off with, it starts off with Hillsborough above it, and then the whole text reads, Hillsborough disaster, we will remember them. And then the actual start of the sculpture is 2 plaques of the names, which are just shown as wood here, but they will have the names of the deceased. And the central part here will be the a wreath of spring flowers with the liver bird in, and the 96. And then below we'll have here we'll have sort of some description of the disaster, possibly a poem as well. And down here we have we just have some scarves, and there's lots of little surprises in the sculpture. We've got some flowers, and there's birds. The birds are a sort of part of the narrative. They are like the souls of the dead, really, the souls of the departed. Now this figure here, we see a boy who's looking in on the names, and there's another group of people on the other side which we'll come to. They're also looking in on it, and this is the more formal part of the sculpture. And then the next part, we see this man represents the city as a whole, really. He's in this sort of Shankly-esque pose, but if you look carefully on one side, it's not put in very well at the moment, but on one side we've got the Liverpool crest, and on the other side we've got the Everton crest, which symbolises the city joined together in the grief of 96 of our citizens who were unfortunately died in this disaster. Now this group, if you take it as a whole, here we see this central figure here, and this man in a way represents all of us, and this flag represents the people who died, and the flag is resting across him, and there's a lady over here who's holding it as well, and this man, and so this group is all of us, the way we feel about it. The hands overlap, which means something in itself. It's about the union of people. We're all united behind in what we feel about the Hillsborough disaster. These people behind are holding up parts of the text. In this particular part, it says, "We will remember them," and you see he's doing the same there. But overall, they all add part to the sort of flow of the design, which is made up in these sort of different shapes. And this young lady here is the justice figure, and she's just discussing all the things that have happened regarding what happened, and the way, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened regarding the, you know, what happened, and, you know, all the things that have happened these elements of the justice and people campaigning and all the rest of it. And so many people have been campaigning to get the truth out about this incident, and just the truth really. And I put in the with hope in your heart. Now hope is a theme in the sculpture which we'll come on to shortly. But before we do that, we've got another figure here, and this figure is touching the ground, and these birds are emanating from his hand, and the birds, as we've seen, are all over the place. And as I say, they represent the people who passed away. They are actually like the observers on this piece, and this figure is the hope figure. And so after in Liverpool, we can't stay down for very long. We rise up and we face the challenge, and that's what's happened with the Hillsborough disaster. So he represents that. He's holding up this flag, and in this flag we have the two anchors, which one anchor symbolises hope, and we've got the city sort of crest here, and then below here we've got the eternal flame. Again, we've used birds, but in this case we used the liver birds, and so that more or less self-explanatory. They're not actually finished, those birds, but we won't worry about that. But anyway, here we have a little girl, and she's part of this family group. Now, of course, this group is linked to the boy on the other side, and it's part of the formal side, the more formal side of the sculpture with the names and all that kind of thing. And they are obviously, they're obviously deeply engrossed in grief and remembrance. And if you look carefully, you notice this young lady is pregnant, and this is about new life, new beginnings. And of course, when we pass away, part of us always carries on, and that's what that refers to. Because the little girl is distracted, and she's playing with one of these birds. So this is all a sign of hope. All this, it's a sign of the future, and as I say, the whole monument is us looking back. Because inside the monuments is something else. Because inside the monuments we have all the memories that people can put in. So it's actually a giant memory box, a giant container. So we can all put in our reflections and things we wish we could have said, and things we'd have liked to have said, and hopefully even that's something all the citizens of Liverpool can do if they want to, and obviously the families of the departed as well.
Where and when can people expect to see this in public?
I think the Hillsborough Justice campaign have put some money into it, and they're very keen to get it going. And it's really, I don't know, I guess it's up to people. If the more money they can get in, then the quicker we can make it. The sculpture is almost finished now, and then we'll take a mould of it, and then once they've got enough money to cast it, it will be cast. And then the next big challenge is to find a site for it. This is a terrible disaster. 96 people were killed, and thousands of people have suffered from it. From the families, people there. There's lots of post-traumatic stress, and there's been actually quite a lot of suicides which have come about from this. And I wanted to do something that would be good, cathartic.